Well, first off, I think yesterday's news, most people probably found surprising. I don't know. I tried to mention this before. There was an element of Brendan Sorsby's case that wasn't a slam dunk for him to get in the supplemental draft. I think everyone assumed that was going to be the case. And depending on how he was going to go about applying for it, it didn't necessarily fit the criteria of other players who'd gone in the supplemental draft in the past. So that news, I think, was surprising to a lot of people when they saw it. But we're venturing into, in some ways, new territory here with how he's been treated and how they were looking at his specific case as opposed to players in the past who've applied for this.
The NFL in their statement to Sorsby, and it's a long one. I think they basically sort of called out the handling of it, the timeliness of it. The infractions themselves were mentioned, all of that. And, have often, they pointed out Roger Goodell saying it's a privilege, not a right, so on and so forth. And I just wonder if it wasn't such a circus between the lawyers and the public, backing of him from Texas Tech and all that, I wonder if we're not at this point to where they just decide we're not holding a supplemental draft. Good luck in the CFL or whatever you want to do. And I know his lawyer, we have the statement that we can get into, but I just wonder if the handling of it sort of was too much for the NFL to want to deal with. And they ultimately decided we're not having this supplemental draft.
You want that one? Go ahead. Go ahead, Q.
You go ahead.
Well,
you go ahead, Var.
Well, thanks, bro. I'll take it. Here's what I'll say. I think they had to send a message to all the families, because this isn't just send a message to the kid, which I believe this is their way of suspending him without getting into any sticky situations. And we all know that they have to protect the integrity of the game, especially in that realm. So they not only sent a message to Sorsby by giving him a 1-year hiatus from the league, but this is a message to any other player that decides to gamble on their team, gamble on sports at the college level, and it's a message to the parents, and it's a message to the universities. All parties involved have to do better moving forward with these minimum situations that surface and take place, but all parties have to do better. Parents, you got to do better. You got to do better with your kid. Kid, you got to not be a kid as much as you would like to use I'm a kid as a reason and as an excuse. You have to handle things more business-like as a college athlete. And the schools, of course, Texas Tech did what they felt was the right thing to do. But moving forward, I think you have to rethink the approach to how, if a situation like this were to arise, how you can support and be supportive of the player that is obviously in question or has broken the rules. But you can do it in a way it's very different from what Texas Tech did. So I think the NFL got it right, if you're asking me.
Yeah, I think it seems like I know it's not going to be cut and dry, but it just seems like they've drawn a line and said this isn't how this is going to work. If we're going to get in bed with gambling, we need to set a tone. We need to send a message, and that's where we're at, in my mind.
Well, I think they also basically just went through line by line, and I don't know how Brendan Sorsby went about trying to petition or apply for the NFL supplemental draft, but it sounded like it was very sloppy way they ended up trying to enter into their name. And that can be something that, look, it was rushed to some degree, but if we're being honest, the 22nd this past Monday was the deadline. They had a pretty clear indication that they were going to try to go this route. Was it about Monday or Tuesday of last week? So they had over a week to be able to understand what this looks like, how they need to apply in the proper way or proper manner. And I'm not sure if they just, tried to, throw something and submit quickly. I'm not sure if they just, didn't realize that the NFL could take such a strong stance. And because of how the NFL has kind of stood up against a lot of the legal cases that have been brought up against them, they can talk from really a position of power. It's like, all right, like you can go ahead and take advantage of the NCAA and you can sue them and you can do all these, put everyone through, these circuses that you made everyone go through for however long it was. But that's not what we are. And you can try to act like, you feel remorseful about what you've done, but like it's a whole different level. And that's how the NFL has always operated. I'll never forget going into the rookie symposium and Chris Carter, CC, saying to everyone, "You will never be bigger than the Shield." That was one of the first things he said. He goes, "As good as all you are." And he brought up so many wide receivers from our draft class. Now, the crazy thing is like he brought up Calvin Johnson, which I was like,
yikes.
I was like, well, I don't know about that one, CC. He might be breaking some of your records. Like, because he literally came up and said, like, he's like, you and you and you three combined would be lucky to have the career I had. And I remember sitting there listening to him thinking, well, I mean, I get the message here, but like Calvin's a different animal, man. Like he's probably going to be able to do a lot of good things in this league. He's different.
Plus, he didn't need no fall guys either. You know what I mean?
Well, we didn't get that speech.
Oh, okay.
I did not hear that in front of a crowd. Yeah. I mean, I heard that behind closed doors.
Who did he see at that rookie symposium where he's like, I need to let him know? Like,
look,
you gotta get
I
a
will
fall
say this.
guy.
I love CC. I love Chris Carter. I've known him for a long time. My football coach in high school, my first couple of years, he coached Chris Carter back when he was at Middletown. So I've known about Chris Carter, obviously watched him growing up, and met him, when I was very young, moving on. But what was interesting about when Chris said that was it was like he was right. Like there's never a time when you were involved in Lavar, I'm sure you felt this way as a player. There was never a time where you felt like anyone was bigger than the NFL, bigger than the Shield. And there's times in college football where there are some players who can do some things that change precedent. They change the way we look at college sports. I mean, Maurice Clarett was kind of one of those who tried to change it, right?
Yeah.
There's others who have challenged that. And whether they were successful or not, because by the way, some of that had to do with the NFL.
Yeah.
That's their rule. They want you to be, 3 years out of high school. It wasn't college football.
Yeah. Well, even to that point of Maurice Clarett, I mean, it wasn't a malicious deal. He was just trying to get in to try to make money for his family, like for what his circumstances were. You know what I mean? Like, but the whole bigger than the game aspect of it, like, I don't know. I went to Penn State. You know what I mean? And I just, from what I know about like a Notre Dame or some of these other schools out here, you're not bigger than the brand. You're not bigger than the team. I got acclimated to that. Hell, I got acclimated to that at my high school because it was a process there. We were a national championship team in the 80s, rich in tradition. You start to learn those ideas of not being larger, like die to yourself so that the rest can live, and it's interesting because you start to ask yourself in this context of this conversation, what was Sorsby's experiences at the high school level, at the college level? What were his experiences? Obviously, he was okay with moving around. So there's that. So you got to say there's a question of his sense of not only worth for himself, but the worth of being loyal to your team and to your teammates and to you don't just go to a school. I think and this should be stated, you don't just go to a school because you like the football team. And if you do go for just that reason, then as you grow as a person, you're supposed to learn the lesson pretty early, pretty quickly. You're supposed to realize and recognize that, hold on, forget about not being bigger than the team. What about not being bigger than your university and the people that go to the school with you, that you go to school with, and what that community represents to you. So to me, it just makes me wonder, where did he go? Where did he miss, or where did something miss for him to allow himself? Because at some point, you got to call a spade a spade. He made the conscious decision of placing the bets multitudes of times. So there was a lack of connection to the sense of reality and accountability and consequence that is connected to those decisions, no matter how anybody wants to frame it or just try to justify it or whatever. There's a disconnect to what we're speaking on with Sorsby, and I just wonder where that may have gone wrong, or what that may be, what the ultimate, kind of conclusion would be drawn from. I would love to hear, now that everything has happened, at some point, I don't know what's going to happen with the PA. I don't think he's going to play. But at some point, it would be nice for somebody to interview Sorsby and just ask him questions like that. I don't want to know about football from Sorsby right now. I would like to understand, what were you thinking? What were you feeling? Like, how were you raised? Like, what was the environment that you were in? Because some of that plays a part. Now, I'm not justifying it, but some of what your environment, like, is there a degenerate gambler in his family? Like,
I just want to know, hey, buddy, did you win a bet? Like what were you hot on? Like what UFC event did you crush on that was worth costing you this much money?
You know what I appreciated about Larry Ferrasani's response? That's the NFL management's general counsel. Is just the manner in which he so matter-of-factly walked through things. He was like, hey, by the way, the league has not held a supplemental draft for years, and we had no plans to do so this year. It's like, yeah, we know you got something going on here, but we're not really concerned about that.
And
then it's like, and by the way, your late and incomplete petition, that's a bit of an issue for us. All right. Dang. And this is only because you just got dropped by the NCAA because you're trying to avoid going through the hoops with all that. It was just so very hey, we're the adults, and I don't know what you're doing down here, but that's not gonna work up here, pal.
Right. And I also wonder, and I threw this out there, would an NFL team want to deal with this? Like, would they have wanted to deal with Brendan Sorsby, or even deal with the drama? And you had Todd Monken say, look, I don't want to go down that road. And I wonder how many other coaches felt the same way.
The answer is these teams have dealt with worse things. I mean, look, from the standard of the integrity of the game, it's not good. It's terrible. But let's not get things twisted. There have been players who have done things off the field that are heinous, that are awful. So coaches have dealt with worse in that regard. I actually think it's funny. I mean, coaches are coaches, man. Lavar,
yeah,
he will tell you. If they get some talented players in their team, they're like, hell yeah, how we get him in here? What do you do? Hold on. What happened?
Well, it wasn't that.
I don't know that guy. Yeah. I don't know the guy who leaves outside this facility. I want the guy I see on the field. Yeah, I want that guy.
Hold on a second. You're going to tell me that Aaron Hernandez and his issues were worse than this guy betting on the Nathan's hot dog eating contest?
Yeah, I mean, it's not even close, man.
Got a lot of,
one was outside of the game,
man.
While one was inside the game.
Got a lot of balls.
Sorsby was just all the way worse than. I'm not even going to joke. You're the one that was joking about it. I went for the cheese.
Yeah, I mean, because
he was busting caps in college.
There are. Mike Florio's one of them, was called out the hypocrisy, and I guess if you want to go down that road, Terrell Pryor and was it Ahmad Brooks, I think, was another one that was mentioned. I think Breer might have mentioned that. And it's, they were brought into the supplemental draft. They had the supplemental draft, and then, afterwards they decided to suspend him. And I think Pryor got suspended 6 games and whatnot. And it's sure, there's a little bit of hypocrisy if you want to go down that road, but at the same time, it all circles back around to, we're at this spot because that guy gambled on games, period. And so the idea that everybody, the Big 12, college football, Texas Tech, his lawyers, his agent, everybody needs to somehow make up for the fact that he had this problem. It's like, no, man, the guy had an issue. If you put your fate in somebody else's hands, don't bitch about the way it turns out. And he put his fate in a lot of people's hands, and this is the result. And who knows? Maybe he'll go to the CFL and light it up there. But other than that,
UFL. Come on now.
Yeah,
he put his fate into his own hands.
By the way, you want to know one of the great details?
And placed it in a bet.
Yes, one of the great details I didn't realize. So, Hunter Deckers, who's with the Saints right now, he signed, I think, earlier this month, if I'm not mistaken. But Hunter Deckers was the guy from Iowa State who was ruled ineligible because of the gambling stuff. He went to the UFL, and of all the teams for him to play, it was the Houston Gamblers.
How funny is that?
Great.
How funny is that? You can't write that up any better.
Bitch. Talk about a method actor.
You're stupid.
By the way,
Good for
I
him.
feel like you guys never followed probably the enhanced games and the way that the fallout from that.
Yeah. Didn't go as well as I thought.
We didn't hear anything about it after.
Well, because a lot of the enhanced guys didn't win. Like they still got they promoted it really well, but then they got beat by people who weren't juicing at all, which was fantastic. But the point is, it's like, all right, maybe this is what the UFL can be. It's like all the cast-offs, all the rejects from wherever else, like go play here. It's like the longest yard group, like the prison league or something. Maybe that's where guys were all playing go.
The last chance you professional model of the UFL.
Okay.
I don't know what they and his lawyer had a big lengthy statement. I'll read part of it here because this goes on. But Jeffrey Kessler, who, by the way, I think he's dealt with the NFL before.
Yes, he has. That's a name.
Yeah.
And so he's Sorsby's attorney, but he said in late April we inquired with the NFL about the process of gaining entry into the supplemental draft. The response from the league was that all that was required was a short application, which needed to be submitted prior to June 22nd. At no point did the NFL indicate that it would need or want to review anything other than the application itself, or that submitting the application at or close to the deadline would have any impact on the NFL's consideration. It's like, and there's more to it, but just that opening statement right there is like, listen, man, I filled out my application, so I missed a line. Big deal. It's like, well, dude, like, how bad do you want the job? Like, I don't hey man, I filled out my resume. I'm sorry if I missed, one of my references. I don't know what to tell you. I gave you the wrong foot. It's like, no, you gotta, if you're serious about this, and I would think that Brendan Sorsby and his team would understand in our situation, you got to go the extra mile and have every detail T crossed, I dotted in order for us to get an opportunity here. And instead,
it's like, let's wait and see the whites of their eyes.
Yeah, they half-assed. It's almost like they half-assed it. They half-assed it, and they're like, well, come on, man, you know what we meant. It's like, no, we didn't. Like, come on, like, you're gambling on games, dude. You're not allowed to play college football. This is your only option. Like, at least do your due diligence and complete your assignment before you hand it into us. It just, I don't know what whole thing is sloppy on their end, in my mind. So.
They weren't going to get what they wanted out of this regardless. That's just how I see it. If they had did it the right way, maybe it's maybe a more complex conversation. Maybe it's a more technical conversation. But that was an easy win for the NFL, the way they did it, the explanations that were coming out before they even fouled, them taking it as far as they did at the college level. It was an easy move for the league to do it. I don't think that anything would have gotten him through, though. It could have been the best filled out application ever in the history of supplemental drafts. I don't think he makes it through that gauntlet.
Don't you kind of feel like this is like Big Brother 2 looking out for little brother?
Yes.
Like the NFL looking out for the NCAA.
Yes.
I mean, almost like the NCAA sitting on the side, like, put him in a body bag, Johnny.
Get him, Johnny. Yeah.
Yelling from the sideline, the NFL. Yeah.
Sweep
we can't win in court, but you can. So it's like, all right.
So the NFL was the sensei. They looking at the NCAA like, sweep the leg.
That's right. What do we?
They're the ones out there doing it.
Yeah, well, maybe you're
taking them
right.
down.
Yeah, you're right.
Yeah.
He's out of
I
there.
don't know. That's how I see it. But